Today, we are going to deal with a silent epidemic that's happening right here in our own backyard. Now, some people refer to what we're talking about today as cults or zealous groups that prey upon the weak and vulnerable, oftentimes in the name of God. Now, in America alone, some experts estimate that there are between 3,000 and 5,000 cults and 5 to 7 million victims. We're talking about 180,000 new recruits every single year. Now, we have guests here today with warnings for you and for your children. These guests today say they've lived through what they call false promises and severe manipulation, and they say it could happen to someone you love if you're not aware of the dangers. Now, the latest front page story about an alleged religious cult comes from Baltimore, Maryland. Imagine your 18-year-old daughter joining a group of new friends you know nothing about, and then one day, bang, she just disappears with your grandchild. Now, Sita says that's exactly what happened to her. She says her daughter, Rhea, joined a religious group called One Mind Ministries 2 years ago. She left home with her 7-month-old son, Javon, and never returned. Sita says they brainwashed her daughter, destroyed her promising future of becoming an attorney. This August, Sita got even more horrifying news when authorities called and said her grandson was dead and her daughter was being charged with first-degree murder.
Bizarre ritual.
Beat and starve the toddler.
Murdered and stuffed into a suitcase. Unbearable pain for the Baltimore family.
I begged and pleaded and cried with her to let me see the baby.
For 2 years, Sita Newton begged members of a religious cult to let her see her daughter and 6-month-old grandson, Javon. They refused, and Monday, the baby's body was found murdered, she believes, at a cult ceremony.
Investigators say the boy was starved for 2 days at the urging of Queen Antoinette, the leader of Baltimore-based One Mind Ministries, because he wouldn't say amen after meals.
Members referring to themselves as king, queen, and prince brainwashed her daughter, keeping mom and baby virtual prisoners.
And she beat him, and she ordered nobody feed him because he had a demon in him.
The child was deprived of food and water until he passed away.
Cult members wrapped the body in a blanket.
Records say Javon was placed on a mattress, upon which cult members say God would resurrect him from the dead.
The body was stuffed inside a suitcase with fabric softener and used to cover the odor. A cult leader would frequently open the suitcase with Javon's remains and spray it with Lysol to cover the smell.
I cannot blame my daughter for what happened.
She now believes her daughter is also a victim in this case.
Once you get in there, you become their slave.
Several other cult members face charges including conspiracy to commit murder and child abuse.
Now his young mother will face murder charges.
Well, Sita says she left no stone unturned in trying to let the authorities know that her daughter and grandson were in danger.
2 years ago, I had my daughter and my grandson in the house. Rhea was going to school. She was doing fine. Next thing, she was gone. Rhea was very, very religious. She was so hungry to be with God. This religious group was trying to recruit my daughter. Rhea asked me if I can take her to her friend's house because they had promised to babysit for her while she go to school. I hesitated because I didn't know these people. Later on that day, I called her. She never answered the phone. A couple of times we went by the house, knocked on the door, they chased us away. They said she can't come outside. I even begged them to let me see the baby. I knew my daughter was brainwashed. There's no question about that. I called the police department, social services, congressman's office, the FBI. I wrote to the city mayor. I even filed court papers to get custody of the baby. I complained about the child's welfare, his health. He wasn't seeing the doctors. He wasn't eating right. I was scared for his safety and also my daughter's safety. I feel like I was just hitting my head against the wall. And this baby, Javon, and my daughter Rhea was just slipping away. This past February, I found out that Javon was dead. Social services failed really bad. Sometimes I feel it's my fault. Sometimes I feel I didn't do enough to keep Javon close. Never see his first tooth, never see him crawl, never hear his first word. And that haunts me. That I could have saved him.
Well, Sita, that's very difficult to watch, isn't it? Tell me what your thinking is when you watch that.
It makes me very angry.
You tried to alert the authorities. You talked to all kinds of people, right?
I did.
What did they say when you talked to them?
Social services said it wasn't their job. I need to bring the evidence to them.
Well, joining us also is Rhea's attorney, Steve Silverman, and Rhea's older brother, Sheldon. Now, at this point, Rhea is in jail, Steve, correct?
That's correct.
Charged with first-degree murder?
First-degree murder and child abuse.
Okay. Are there other members of this organization imprisoned as well?
There are 4 other members that they have charged with first-degree murder, 3 of which are currently being held without bail. The child evidently died about a year ago, and once the body was found in Philadelphia in the suitcase, that is when charges were brought against my client, the mother, and the cult members.
Okay, so you represent Rhea as her criminal defense attorney in the face of this first-degree murder charge.
That's correct.
Okay, and your defense is that she was brainwashed?
There's no question she was brainwashed. She loved her child. That is one of the reasons why she left the home, because she wanted, in her mind, to have an opportunity to be with her child 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. What you have is a 18-year-old girl, a very gullible, naive young lady who has the deepest religious convictions and commitment of anyone I've ever met in my life. And she was brought into this situation by people literally twice her age. The woman who ran this cult, her name is Queen Antoinette, and she convinced Rhea that she was an apostle of God, that she spoke with God on a daily basis, that God is with her in their house and giving her orders, and Rhea bought this program hook, line, and sinker. This starvation issue didn't occur until months and months and months of programming, until finally one day Queen Antoinette was convinced that the young child was possessed, and convinced Rhea that this child needs to literally be exorcised from the devil. Okay,
so y'all's position is that she never had the capacity to say, wait a minute, you people killed my baby, I'm calling the cops. At no time in there was there ever a flash of rationality, a flash of reality, a flash of self-control to say, wait a minute, you've killed my child.
The reason why that wasn't the case is they brought the child in a suitcase with them to Philadelphia, and for months and months and months, for one reason and one reason only, and that's because Queen Antoinette told Rhea that the child was going to be resurrected. I think that speaks volumes for her irrational commitment to this cult and following exactly what the leader said.
Coming up, we're going to talk about a story that gives a whole other dimension to hanging out with the wrong crowd. Now, could you or your children be led astray? You sit there and think, oh, no, no, no. But can you get in a position where you are vulnerable? We're going to tell you what to look for with yourself and others when we come back. Plus, you're going to meet another parent who packed up his family, moved hundreds of miles from home, and joined a religious group that came with a price that he says he never expected. We'll be right back.